I am deeply honored to be celebrating this 20th anniversary with you all here today, and I want to express my deep gratitude to our supporters, our donors, our partners, our team members, and to our board of directors. Today we have a panel. We're going to bring together long-standing partnerships and outstanding leaders who have created long and lasting change from Austin, Texas to Paraguay. I'm delighted to introduce our distinguished panelists who embody the full scope of our mission in action. Together, they'll share behind-the-scenes insights into our collaborative partnerships. So let's see. I'm going to take a seat. Our first panelist, Dr. Martin Burt, is a visionary in global poverty alleviation. He has served as Chief of Staff to the President of Paraguay, was the Mayor of Asunción, and is the founder of the microfinance organization Fundación Paraguaya. Fundación Paraguaya is a nonprofit dedicated to promoting entrepreneurship and economic self-sufficiency to eradicate poverty and is currently supporting over 100,000 microfinance borrowers. This groundbreaking poverty stoplight methodology, now adopted by 800 organizations across 50 countries, has revolutionized how we measure and address poverty and food insecurity. He has also authored books on social development, education, economics, and poetry. And I strongly recommend checking out his book, Who Owns Poverty? Martin is a pioneer in microfinance, youth entrepreneurship, and financial literacy programs. Martin, please join me on the stage. Thank you. Next, I'm delighted to introduce Andrea Abel, whose leadership exemplifies the power of connecting sustainable agriculture with community food access. As Executive Director of FarmShare Austin since 2017, Andrea brings a lifetime of dedication to food, agriculture, and strategic community building, having worked alongside farmers for most of her career. Under her leadership, FarmShare Austin's 13-acre certified organic farm has become a vital bridge between local food production and food access programs across Central Texas. Beyond her role at FarmShare, Andrea shapes regional food policy as an appointee to the Austin-Travis County Food Policy Board, where she has been instrumental in developing the groundbreaking City Council Food System Plan. Her unique ability to unite sustainable farming practices with innovative food access solutions has transformed how our community approaches food security. Please welcome Andrea to the stage. Our final panelist is Vanessa Cruz, a dynamic leader in transforming school nutrition programs nationwide. With a degree in nutrition from the University of Texas in Austin and a master's in public health focusing on health promotion and behavioral change from UT Houston, Vanessa brings both academic and practical wisdom to her work. Her journey in children's nutrition began right here at Whole Kids Foundation, where she evolved her career from an internship to a school foods program specialist. Now, as the Scratchworks program manager at Wellness in Schools in New York City, she leads a pioneering initiative that aims to revolutionize school food systems across the country. Through Scratchworks, Vanessa helps unite school food professionals and nonprofits in a shared mission, transforming cafeteria meals by incorporating fresh, whole ingredients prepared from scratch. This desperately needed approach not only nourishes students' bodies and health, but supports their educational success and long-term well-being. Vanessa, please join us on the stage. So thank you all for being here today. I'm going to kick it off. While each of you represents different pillars of our mission, you share a powerful common thread: leadership in creating long and lasting change in your communities. Let's begin our conversation today by exploring your personal journey towards that path. Andrea, what initially sparked your passion for this work? And how did your path lead you to FarmShare Austin?
Thanks for asking that question, Daniel. The passion for my work came from a really fundamental and core belief that healthy food access is a human right. And that not just healthy food access, but access to the quantity and the type of food that you desire. And food also goes beyond just the nutritional value. It goes also to when we break bread together, when we sit down at a table together, when we share a meal, when we share conversation. So that is really what sparked my path to FarmShare. I started out on the national level, and I would say throughout my career it has just been getting more and more and more and more focused till I came to FarmShare, where I was really driven to work on a community and regional level so I could feel and see the real and meaningful and lasting impact.
Awesome. Vanessa, talk us through your journey to wellness in schools and what drew you to this work.
Yeah, of course. So I think I'll start talking about something more personal, about what drew me to nutrition in the first place. So if you had to describe what type of kid Whole Kids Foundation previously would have wanted to reach, it probably would have been me. It would have been my family. I grew up in South Texas, one of the most unhealthy cities in the United States. My grandparents lived with us and they had chronic diseases. They were obese, heart disease, diabetes, and nothing seemed to be working. They couldn't move on their own. They were taking lots of medications, and it kind of just seemed that's what happens when you get older. And then actually I was in high school when I watched a Netflix documentary. I think it was called Forks Over Knives. Anyone? And it was the first time...
Forks Over Knives.
Forks Over Knives. Anyone? It was the first time anyone had described to me the connection between food and your health. And now being in the position I am, that seems insane, but that's how I grew up. And so I remember getting really angry and thinking, my grandparents didn't deserve this, other grandparents don't deserve this, and my community doesn't deserve this. And so that's when I decided I was on a mission to change it. I went to school, I studied nutrition, and at school, I was introduced to Whole Kids Foundation, where they let me intern. And that was the first time I also realized it didn't need to be patient by patient. We could actually do systems work to change whole communities at one time. And that absolutely was a light switch for me. So after I left Whole Kids Foundation, I went and got my master's. I was lucky enough to come back. I worked with great partners like Wellness in the Schools. And when the opportunity came to be able to be one of those implementers, it just made a lot of sense.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Martin, Fundación Paraguay has been one of Whole Planet's longest standing partners in the Latin America portfolio. We've partnered since 2010. Could you share a specific milestone or achievement that was made possible through our collaboration?
Well, thank you, and thank you, guys. You don't know the impact that the Whole Planet Foundation initially had with our microfinance program, because they just showed up out of thin air, said, knock, 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 hello, we're here to help you. And they wanted to help us help our microfinance clients with micro franchises, because there are a lot of poor women living in the villages and in the slums who don't have an idea of what to do. So we developed a portfolio of 15 micro franchises. You want to double your income? These are what you can do. And you can just, mix and sell cleaning supplies or clothes, and it just allowed us to move beyond existing micro enterprises, the seamstress, the street vendor, to women and mothers who wanted to make money but didn't know where to start. Then they came back and they said, we would like to help you with your new experiment, which we took a bankrupt agricultural high school that the Catholic Church gifted us, and we applied what we learned in microfinance and microfranchise, and we made it, with Whole Foods support, the first financially self-sufficient agricultural high school in the world. Education that pays for itself. No government subsidies, only learning by doing in the classroom and in the vegetable garden, but learning how to sell and make money. And when a 17-year-old girl figures out how she can make $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, she levitates out of poverty. And then we develop, with the support of the Whole Planet Foundation, the third innovation, which is, okay, obviously the World Bank doesn't understand what poverty is or not, nor United Nations. So we developed a new way to help the poor measure their own poverty, which is called the Poverty Stoplight, and I'll tell you all about it. So,
get more to
muchas
that.
gracias, if you understand that, okay? Muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Martin. What excites me most now that we are Whole Foods Market Foundation is that our work engages across multiple areas of agriculture and food systems, from supporting smallholder farmers, food security, nutrition, financial inclusion, school food, and recognizing that food system transformation is inherently interconnected. So my questions. Martin, knowing that such a large percentage of your microfinance borrowers are from farming communities, how does your programs address food insecurity?
Well, what we have developed is a treating small farmers into converting them into rural entrepreneurs that know how to make money, know how to do a business plan. And this has revolutionized the food systems right now, to the point that our agricultural high school for the ultra poor is generating $800,000 a year from the sale of our cheese. And this cheese, this blue cheese that are 17 or 15 years, just got the gold medal for the best blue cheese in Latin America 2 weeks ago. So agriculture doesn't have to be fatalistic. We can treat farmers as entrepreneurs. We can train them and we can motivate them and show them how to make money, and it's a virtuous circle. The problem is that governments have perverse incentives to keep farmers poor. So we need to incorporate income generating and wealth creation by diversifying. The farmer doesn't need only to farm. He can farm, he can have a store, he can weave. It's how much money do you want to make a month, and then reverse that, and it works.
You had mentioned that many of the farmers are living in extreme poverty. How do you define extreme poverty, or what does that look like in Paraguay?
Well, we certainly know that it doesn't mean $3 per person per day as the World Bank, right? So not realizing that poverty is multidimensional and realizing that they know and we don't know, we developed a new way to measure poverty that is called the Poverty Stoplight, where with colors and images, people can self-diagnose their level of poverty in 20 minutes. This is the one they use in the UK. So Whole Foods support in Paraguay allowed us to develop a methodology that is in 14 states in the US. There's a company in San Antonio, Texas called Zachary Construction. They have 2,700 workers using the stoplight. Amazing. It's all the, and so after the family self-diagnose, and self-diagnosis is important because it includes subjective indicators, the family does a dashboard in which in some areas you're not poor, in some areas you're poor, and then they do the family plan to overcome poverty. And so thanks to Whole Foods, we were able to develop this social innovation and go south-south. We're in South Africa, India, but also south-north. So our honor is to be able to work with very poor communities in Kansas, in North Carolina, in Chicago, and this is all Whole Foods coming back. It's the same thing as agriculture. The same thing. It's the same thing, and we're all very similar, and it's a private initiative. So we're now working with 575,000 families in private plans to overcome poverty.
Awesome. Thanks, Martin. Andrea, knowing that FarmShare has a holistic view around food systems, including land, farmers, and food access, what do community-driven programs look like at FarmShare?
Thank you. So we have 2 pillars to our mission. We work on training beginning farmers in the first 10 years of farming for adults. And then we do community food access in a 442 square mile area. That's 25 zip codes in the Eastern Crescent up in Austin and Travis County. So we really do use community-driven approaches for all of our work. I'm going to give you 2 very concrete examples. On the farming side, we have over 120 adults who have graduated from our Farmer Starter program since 2014, and over 60% of them are still farming now. And all of them stay very close to us, or a lot of them stay very close to us, and they're always coming back to our team wanting to get their questions answered. And so the idea is, how do you create an inclusive farming community that not only can get their questions answered, but can mutually support one another in that way? So it's a very small thing, and it doesn't really cost any money. We have an alumni network. We have Discord channels. And so at first, people are posting, our graduates are posting their farming questions and wanting the staff to answer the questions. And now you find them supporting one another and sharing tools and sharing information. So we are really trying to create that mutually supportive community of farmers. On the food access side, we had the ability a couple years ago to do 2023 and 2024, a 2-year compensated community advisory committee, where we really try to identify folks who are already customers at our mobile markets and home delivery, but also folks who were in our demographic but were not customers. And through that 2-year process, we really started out actually a lot similar to the Thrive model of tell us what thriving looks like to you in terms of food and what a thriving life looks like. And so from that, we made significant changes, or I should say we tweaked some of our food access programs. Some of the interesting things that came about were folks really were interested in more home delivery. So we added a second home delivery day. People had interest in more proteins and ready-to-eat proteins. And sardines actually was something that came out. It's a very concrete thing. We thought sardines, and it's a very sustainable protein. It's something that's ready to eat. So if you are housing insecure, it is something you can pop open and eat. So we made some very real changes. I also wanted to note that we plant, our farming team works very closely with our food access team. Over half of what we grow on the farm goes directly to our food access work. And we actually are doing crop planting right now for spring. And we plant smaller vegetables so folks can carry them home. At the event on Wednesday, the Whole Foods Market Foundation team had the treadmill and the bags. And so folks that are using public transportation or walking to get to the market and get home, they can't carry a whole watermelon. So we grow a small size watermelon. We grow the most adorable baby butternut squashes and little bok choys. And I was just telling, we have little pumpkins, food pumpkins out at the farm. So and small cabbages. We do that so that we are meeting those direct needs.
I love the idea of bringing together like-minded organizations and having a community for farmers to ask questions and share best practices. What are some of the challenges that you see local farmers here facing?
Oof. How much time do we have? Farming in Central Texas is difficult on many, many levels. One, the climate here is super challenging. You have the heat of summer, which lasts what seems like forever. You have wildly moving temperatures now. We can go in the wintertime from being 80 degrees one day to being 12 degrees, which just happened. And so we have those sorts of things. I think the biggest pressure is the price of land. And getting access to land and water. You have to have the land that is quality for farmland. You have to have water.
Vanessa, when we think about food systems transformation, why school food? And how has the partnership with the foundation over the years helped catalyze innovation at your organization?
Yeah, I love this question.
I know you do.
And
Why
it's
school food?
Yeah, and it's really why I decided not to do clinical and why I decided to do this type of work. Globally, investing $1 into school food can generate up to $5 to $35 for that local economy. So it just makes sense financially. And then you think about the human value too. At least in the United States, children are required to go to school every day, even though they don't want to, Monday through Friday, and they can have up to 3 meals in their cafeteria in schools. If you think about that on a larger scale, that's about 30 million meals 3 times a day. If you want to talk about impact, direct change, you work with the schools. And why can we not get that food from farmers that work with Andrea or work with Martin and make it all connect and transform, uplift workers that are growing the food, help students receive good nutrition to have better educational outcomes, and also let's talk about the school food workers, the ones that are in there every day cooking the food, making it better for their students. They're really the frontline workers when we talk about nutrition and children's health.
Yeah, when we think about kind of the amount of volume of food provided every day to that many kids, it's definitely the largest food chain.
I think that's our favorite phrase, right? Schools are the biggest chain of restaurant that have the most regulations, the pickiest eaters, and have to work with such little money. So in the US alone, school food is about a $24 billion industry. And the US government itself invests about $17 billion. But when it comes to a per plate cost, schools have about $4 to make a really good, tasty meal. I used to live in Austin and now I live in New York. I cannot find a latte for $4. So these people are working very hard for limited resources. So it's also tough to hear such discourse about all school food sucks. It doesn't. Talk to Lori, talk to Junie, talk to the people in this room that are working so hard. Did anyone go to the event on Tuesday? Did you see that salad bar? Doesn't it look like the salad bar in Whole Foods? That's where Whole Kids started, and it's the work that's happening across the US. So kids can have good food, it's possible. I should also mention Scratchworks, where I now work, it just simply wouldn't exist without Whole Foods Market Foundation. It just wouldn't have happened. And I'm not just talking about funding. Whole Foods Market Foundation is a real partner. They show up to our monthly calls, work on an advisory committee with us, with other funders, and more importantly with school food operators. So Whole Foods Market Foundation, other funders, and implementers can talk about what's happening on the ground routinely. And that's the magic of being a partner with Whole Foods Market Foundation.
Yeah, I had the privilege to join in the Scratchworks gathering earlier this year, and a lot of folks in this room. It was an awesome event bringing together thought leaders in the space and champions of moving that movement forward.
Yeah, if I can say a little bit more
Sure.
too. And what really excites me about the direction that Whole Foods Market Foundation is going is we can also learn from great leaders like Andrea and Martin, because Scratchworks sounds very familiar to the network you're now creating with your farmers. School food operators are just looking for connection, for understanding and support, and they should find it amongst themselves, but they need that connection to happen, and that's what Scratchworks provides.
Awesome. Thanks, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Your organizations uniquely address social, economic, and sometimes environmental challenges through your implementing programs. This is complex work that each and every one of you do. Martin, I know you mentioned a little bit about the Stoplight program, but can you share more about how that conversation has reshaped the conversation around multidimensional poverty? And can you share how microfinance specifically helped you define what multidimensional poverty is?
So we asked the people with whom we were working, what does it mean to be not poor to you? And so you got to have money. What else? You have to have clothes to change daily. What else? You need to have you need to eat nutritious food. Oh, you need to have drinking water. What else? You have to have motivation. Excuse me? Yeah, you have to have self-esteem. What? You have to control your emotions. Come on. What's more important, drinking water or controlling your emotions? Of course controlling your emotions. To get out of poverty, of course controlling your emotions. So that's the problem of government top-down anti-poverty program. They only aim to alleviate suffering or reduce poverty. At the household level, poverty can be eliminated by, as Desmond Tutu would say, the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. We disaggregate poverty indicators into actionable by the family and achievable by the family indicators. And so these indicators are all achievable and actionable in 5 years. So in 5 years, we can eliminate poverty. It doesn't take $5 trillion that the UN is requiring. No, 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 no. We need to incorporate the fourth actor. Actor number one, government, businesses, civil society, but no one's ever listened to the mother of the house. How do you feel? Technology today allows us to incorporate the family household, and we are very encouraged that with technology today we can circumvent and bypass and these, no, it can't be done, it don't, you know. We are very optimistic at the, and in the case of the 575,000 families around the world, and with the 100,000 families with we work in Paraguay, we have a plan to green them in 5 years. And I receive a daily report. I don't know what daily report you receive, but my reports are like, yesterday 375 bathrooms were created, 800 people got eyeglasses. I get this, and it's really interesting for me. As my son says, you realize that nobody cares.
We care, we care.
But in any case, the work that we do, and so we're working. We started with our small, then. We're working with about 400 companies around the world. They're applying it to their workers. And that has increased productivity and reduced absenteeism and rotation and stuff like that. So now we're going with our idea of no poverty capitalism as a productivity tool for the company. Instead of corporate social responsibility, investing in the community, invest in your own workers. They live in their community. But the key is they have to own it. If you're going to own it, good luck. But they are more than ready to own their diagnosis. I better do something about my eyeglasses or about my weight or about the way we're living, right? I will pick my priorities, and we're going to support them with the solutions back.
Andrea, could you share how programs like Food is Medicine and VeggieX create ripple effects in the community? And how the partnership between the foundation helped expand your reach and impact?
Absolutely. So FarmShare's food access work, like I said, focuses on a 25 zip code area in East Austin and Eastern Travis County. Over the years, we've really struggled with that tension of how do we reach more people? Do we expand our geographic reach? Do we work outside of Travis County? How do we do that? The 25 zip codes that we do reach are the ones that have been identified as experiencing the most food access barriers. And so we really try to figure out, instead of expanding our reach, how do we meet the needs of more people in that community? Many of our mobile markets are located at community health centers. We share a similar health and wellness mission. And so a number of programs have sprung up over the last couple of years that can be defined as Food is Medicine, where we are trying to dive more deeply into the specific needs of an individual and how do we meet those needs through Fresh for Less, through our mobile markets and home delivery programs. How do we take that model, instead of creating new models or expanding our reach, and better serve the needs of individuals? So the work with the foundation has been amazing in this sense, because the foundation comes to us and says, what is it that you need? Instead of saying, this is the RFP, you have to meet these requirements. They are there the foundation is there to support FarmShare as a whole. An example of this is a couple of years ago, we had gotten some funding to funding to expand our reach within our food access reach. But we couldn't purchase a van. We couldn't purchase a walk-in cooler. We couldn't use any of that funding for the infrastructure, for the actual infrastructure needed to expand our reach. And the foundation was the one that came in and said, yes, you have the flexibility to use that funding in order to build that infrastructure on the farm. Another example is we just launched, we're super excited, it's a produce and pantry RX with one of our community health centers here in Austin. It's also a partnership with the Dell Medical School. And the community health center is identifying 50 youth and their entire families to participate in the program, where the youth are showing propensity for chronic disease. And so the index that benefit that the family will receive is on the family side. So it's not just for the kid, it's not just for one other person in the family, it is for the entire family. And it includes both produce that we offer through Fresh for Less and our grocery items. And so we had the funding for the evaluator, we had the funding for the community health worker, we had all these bits of funding that we put together. Whole Foods came in and provided that funding that put us to fully funded so we can launch this program. So that was like the Hail Mary came in to help us make this Produce and Pantry RX program a reality.
That's awesome. And one thing I appreciate is that we started off as a Community First grant recipient in 2017, so a smaller dollar grant, and it's grown over time to have that deeper impact.
Yes, not only the grant has grown, the support, but I always talk about the Whole Foods Market Foundation truly being a partner with FarmShare, that you all truly walk alongside us. And when you put that question on those reports, like how else can we help you, you all really mean it. And one of the examples that I gave recently was that we didn't have the money to get really good photos of our work, to tell our story, to be able to use that to talk to the community, to talk to other funders, to talk to local donors. And the foundation came in and said, we can connect you with a photographer. And that photographer not only took the photos, but really worked with us for months to figure out how to best tell our story. And we use those photos over and over and over again. So we're really grateful for that.
That's awesome. Okay, Vanessa, as I have continued to learn more about school food, it is so complex. Each district is doing things differently. Budget constraints are all over the place. And yet there's huge opportunity because of the volume and the volume of food being served to our children. So I'd love to hear, how does Wellness in School play a role in continuing to push forward the school food movement?
Yeah, thank you. I talked a little bit about the budget constraints, but Wellness in the School specifically, I think they have a really magical formula. They send actual working chefs that have worked in restaurants or culinary trained into schools to work side by side with the frontline workers, the school food workers. So they work side by side to train them how to cook new recipes, develop culinary schools, and really transform the cafeteria together. But like Martin listens to his community and asks them to own something, we also ask the students to tell us what they want. And so before a menu item is actually menued, they do a survey with students, and if not more than 70% like the recipe, it doesn't go on the school menu. And that's a kind of high bar, but it's the bar that we need to make sure that when we introduce something new, the students actually take it. Because this can be the one opportunity a student has to have a complete full meal. So when we introduce something new, we want to make sure that they feel comfortable taking it and excited. And so I think that's where the magic really happens.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close with some quick and fun insights. Recommended book within your sector. Martin, what do you got?
But who owns poverty? It's in Spanish also, ¿Quién es dueño de la pobreza? And also in Portuguese. Yeah, it's really important about ownership. If poverty is going to be owned by governments, like telling them, because that's the way it works, right? Poverty is a human rights problem. Then it becomes a public good. Then the government say, let me take care of this. and then they amputate the hand and they tell the lady in the house, don't worry, we will define what you need, and so you're basically destroying the agency and the self-efficacy of people to own their life. So there needs to be awareness, there needs to be aspiration, but there needs to be agency. And I think that many people with maybe good intentions have told, don't you worry about that, we will. And by that, they destroy the capacity of people to empower themselves. So this is what we're trying to do, and it has been the whole Planet Foundation when we're right, and helped us, just like you, helped us craft this thing first with our agricultural high schools that we continue to innovate and take, convert small, poor farmers into rural entrepreneurs that know how to make money, that kind of circle. And then with this thing about overcoming poverty, the only problem that we have is that they change the name in every country. So in the United States, they don't like poverty stoplight. They call it Thrive Lights. Okay, and is that your? In the UK, they call it Signal. So that's the only problem. But you know what? The good news, at the family household level, we're pretty about 95% the same. What's the difference between a Chicago family and a Brazilian family and an Indian family? And all the mothers are cut by the same scissors, as we say. Good, that's good. So once again, thank you. Thank you for all your support. I know that
Martina's
everybody
brought
has
some books, and
Yeah.
after this we
Yeah.
can break cheese and do some.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay.
And the book, 2 pages a night, and you sleep.
Andrea, book recommendation?
Yes. Farming While Black by Leah Penniman, one of the co-founders of Soulfire Farm. It is something that talks about the history of agriculture, not only in this country, but of the people who have come to this country and farm. It is something we've used at FarmShare and worked through chapter by chapter as a group, and done some of the trainings also that Soulfire Farm has offered, so I highly recommend that.
Great. Vanessa?
I have to give a huge shout out to Nona because she actually gave me this book when I was an intern, and it's called Kid Food. It's a really short read, but it's the difficulty of raising a child with ultra-processed foods. And it's all about how the marketing industry tries to win over children very young and get loyal customers. It's a great read. It's easy. And it has a very pretty cover.
Okay, in one sentence, most memorable food experience through your work. We'll start with Vanessa.
Oh no. I have to say it's the cauliflower, Jollof cauliflower I had in a New York City public school. It was phenomenal. It was best.
I'm going to do a little shameless promotion. Every year out at the farm, this year's December 6th, we have our community Veggie U-Pick, where the community is invited to come out and pick their own vegetables at the farm. It's really fun. We also enable our SNAP customers to come and use their benefits to also be able to harvest at the farm.
And this is our.
Oh, yeah.
This is an educational cheese. Okay, actually, this is made by students in a classroom, and it pays 100% of the cheese master's salary, and then the overhead of the school. So, just like education can pay for itself, farming can pay for itself. We just need to frame it, and students, when they combine good farming practices with money, and that young girl can say, this is how I will become independent. And then they move. So thank you again for all your support. Thank you.
In one word, what is next for you? One word.
One word.
One word.
I'm trying to sell my cheese. I'm trying to sell my cheese because the whole point, I mean, can you imagine a poor farmer girl from South America being able to export? I mean, it's just like, okay, and that's the whole thing.
Cheese.
It's hyphenated. Organizational succession planning.
Organizational success and planning. Vanessa.
Growth.
Growth.
Got it.
Awesome. Well, that is all the time we have here today. I I want to thank all three of you for your thought leadership, the time you spent today, and the shared mission and vision of creating healthy communities where people can prosper and live healthy lives. So thank you very much today.
Thank you.